This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Friday, March 8th. I'm Mark Martin. Today, Democratic controversy. Did Democrats avoid condemning one of their own members over charges of anti-Semitic remarks? And President Trump visiting Alabama today to see the damage from that deadly tornado on Sunday. Plus, not only are some states passing extremely liberal abortion laws, now there's a new push to get states to pay for abortions. And U.S. allies are only days away from victory over ISIS in Syria. We'll look at their hopes for a brighter future. Those stories and more on today's CBN NewsWatch. We begin now with the problems the new Democrat majority in the House had in figuring out how to condemn anti-Semitic remarks made by one of their own members. It proved to be a major challenge this week. Alleged anti-Semitic remarks, what started as a House resolution condemning anti-Semitism, morphed into a 7-page document condemning bigotry against Muslims, Latinos, the LGBTQ community, and many other minorities. It all started when freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, one of 2 Muslim members of the House, suggested lawmakers who support Israel are pledging allegiance to a foreign country, something many lawmakers found offensive. The measure passed 407 to 23, but not before intense debate by members on both sides of the aisle.
We are having this debate because of the language of one of our colleagues, language that suggests that Jews like me, who serve in the United States in Congress, and whose father earned a Purple Heart fighting the Nazis in the Battle of the Bulge, that we are not loyal Americans? Why are we unable to singularly condemn anti-Semitism?
We came here because of an anti-Semitic remark, and we came here to condemn anti-Semitism. But this resolution, as changed up over the last hour, now condemns just about everything.
CBN News senior Washington correspondent Jennifer Wishon joins us now with more on this story. Jennifer, certainly this is not what Speaker Pelosi wants to be dealing with just weeks into her new majority in the House. What is she saying about all of this?
You're absolutely right, Mark. Speaker Pelosi says that she spoke with Congresswoman Omar after this latest remark that Jews find offensive, many other Americans too. And she says that after speaking with her, she doesn't think that Congresswoman Omar understood the full weight of her words. And Pelosi says that she did not want Omar included in this resolution. She says it's not about her, it's about hatred towards Jews and, you know, as you just reported, many other minority groups in America.
Jennifer, how did this play out among Democrats? Is this controversy revealing fractures in the new House majority?
It absolutely is, Mark. We saw fractures among ideological lines, more moderate versus more liberal Democrats, but also generational. We saw some older Democrats really, going to the floor and showing that how hurt they were by this. And, you know, Mark, we're just about 75 years removed from the Holocaust. So you have some members serving in Congress whose parents, whose fathers served in World War II. So I think that we really saw that generational divide. But listen, Mark, this new class of Democrats, some of these younger, more liberals, Democrats, they are kind of representing what we're seeing in America right now, which is a decline in support for Israel. There's a new Gallup poll out that shows that 59% of Americans support Israel. When you ask them about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, 59% are sympathetic with Israel, but that's down from 64% just a year ago. So we're really kind of seeing a bit of a trend here.
What are the political implications here, Jennifer?
Well, going into 2020, this is going to be an interesting issue for Democrats because their challenge is keeping their liberal members happy, but also trying to win back some of those more moderate Democrats that President Trump was able to steal, if you will, in 2016. And so this issue of support for Israel, I think, is going to be one of those important issues where they're really trying to, straddle a line there. And I think we're going to hear a lot more about this.
Okay, Jennifer Wishon reporting from Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
President Trump will visit Alabama today, where a deadly tornado hit on Sunday. The president will see the region where the powerful storm tore through the rural countryside, leaving 23 people dead. Now, many of the survivors are digging through the rubble of what is left of their homes and their belongings. Operation Blessing is in the area helping residents like Barbara Rowan. She was not home when the storm hit and believes her life was spared. Operation Blessing prayed with her and helped her sort through debris to find family photos. In the last 2 months, abortion legislation in New York, Virginia, and other states that can allow abortion up to the moment of birth has caught the nation's attention. What you may not know is there's also a new push to get states to pay for abortion. Here's Heather Sells.
Research shows that abortions increase when state Medicaid programs fund them. It's one reason why pro-life supporters are concerned about what's happened in Illinois. In 2017, then-Governor Bruce Rauner signed a bill mandating state Medicaid cover the cost of abortions for low-income women. As part of an investigation, WICS-TV in Springfield requested government statistics and found a dramatic increase in state-funded abortions in just a few months. Numbers show that in the first half of 2017, before the bill became law, Illinois taxpayers paid for 84 abortions. In the first half of 2018, that number exploded to 1,561, an increase of more than 1,700%.
Essentially, when the price of abortion goes down, the incidence increases. And if low-income women can get abortions subsidized through Medicaid programs, they're more likely to get abortions.
Political scientist Michael New says both sides in the abortion debate have known this for some time. The big concern now is that Rauner was the first to push for the funding, and more governors may follow. 15 states already pay for abortions thanks to court orders or administrative rulings. This all comes as more states are pushing extreme legislation. In January, New York legalized abortion up to birth. Lawmakers applauded, and the governor lit the Freedom Tower in pink to celebrate. Illinois, Virginia, and Vermont are all considering similar bills. Ironically, these shifts to the far left could lead more liberals to the center. A new Marist poll finds that in the last month, Democrats who identify as pro-life jumped from 20 to 34%.
I think what has helped is the recent move by New York and Virginia and other states to redefine what it means to be pro-choice as someone who supports abortion up to 9 months and even after.
Kristen Day leads Democrats for Life, which saw a record number of new members in January. It's a trend she hopes to capitalize on in 2020.
The pro-life Democrats are going to demand answers, and which of the candidates is going to open up the big tent and say that you can be pro-life and Democrat in the party.
Heather Sells, CBN News.
Coming up, U.S. allies are apparently only a few days away from victory over ISIS in Syria. And with the battle nearly won, we'll look at their hopes for a brighter future.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I Wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Coalition forces may only be days away from defeating ISIS in Syria. As Chris Mitchell reports from northeast Syria, U.S. allies are remembering the sacrifice of their fallen comrades and hoping for a brighter future.
That's a sound of victory as one of the final ISIS weapons depots goes up in flames. One more sign the end of the Islamic State Caliphate is near. While the U.S. provides air support, this prolonged fight has also required boots on the ground. In 2015, the city of Kobani was the epicenter in the battle against the Islamic State. Nearly 4 years later, you can still see much of the destruction. It was also the beginning of the U.S.-led coalition to defeat ISIS. Those fighting alongside U.S. troops are a team of Kurds, Arabs, Christians, and others called the Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF.
This alliance managed to repel ISIS attacks from Kobani and from Tel Aviv and other areas. And later, after the formation of the SDF, we managed to defeat ISIS terrorism from all North and East Syria.
As the front line shifted to the south, these men and women paid a high price as they took back territory from the Islamic State.
The Syrian people gave a lot of sacrifices. I think we have more than 9,000 or 10,000 martyrs who sacrificed their lives during the fight to defeat terrorism in the area.
Aram suffered great personal loss.
Personally, I know all of these friends. I lose them on the field. We were fighting together against ISIS, and we lose them in real sad occasions. We find that they are really our motivation to stand up every morning and fight again and win this war.
They fought side by side, and now are buried side by side. Even Christians and Muslims. Reem Mardau takes care of this cemetery.
They sacrifice themselves and give their souls to keep us in safety and at peace. And at least we can just take care of this cemetery for them. This is our duty.
The living now fight for a new way of life here, where everyone is equal.
It's the first time that we feel we can take our decision by our minds. It's the first time that we live in justice together. No one is better than me, I am no better from anyone here.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. Chris, President Trump says 100% he will keep U.S. troops in Syria. Why is that important?
Well, it's very important, Mark, because a lot of the people that I met there in northeast Syria breathing a big sigh of relief because right now they feel like they have the United States as somebody to protect them from many of their enemies. It's a big stop sign to those enemies. That would be Iran, that would be Turkey, that would be the Assad regime and Russia. So having a U.S. presence in there is going to keep them out. It's also a big boost to Israel to blunt sort of Iran's ambition to have a land bridge from Iran all the way to the Mediterranean. And many people, Mark, are saying it's a big answer to prayer. Many people have been praying that President Trump would reverse his decision. And last week, there was a 3-day Esther kind of fast, that he would reverse his decision, and it looks like he did.
Chris, how would you describe the Syrian Democratic Forces, the men and women who have fought alongside the U.S. troops?
Well, they really feel like they're fighting for a democracy, and many of them were telling me that they were inspired by the American Revolution, that they're fighting for their freedom. This new democracy is something that represents all of the people and makes a priority for women. They require that 40% of the representatives will be women. This is unique. This is almost unheard of in the Middle East. And so what they're fighting for is this new kind of democracy. They feel that if the United States has a presence there that'll be able to flourish and survive. Right now it's embryonic, but it needs security, stability to be able to stand by themselves.
What's next for the northeast of Syria, and why is that region so vital for the Middle East and Israel?
Well, what I would say next, hopefully, is the fact that they can survive and thrive in this new environment. After all, they are surrounded by Iran, Turkey, the Assad regime, and Russia. So there's still pressure on them. And so they hope that they can survive long enough to have this embryonic democracy survive. It also means a great deal for the gospel. In that region, there's religious freedom. We were at a church where it said they could actually have Muslims who had changed their religion, had converted to Christianity. This is, again, unheard of in the region. So the gospel can go forth. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about this in a prophetic sense as well. I have had one of the leaders there in the Syrian Democratic Council talk to me about Isaiah chapter 19. This is the prophetic statement where the prophet Isaiah says, one day there'll be a holy highway all the way from Assyria through Israel to Egypt. And they see themselves as perhaps a precursor to this prophetic unfolding in the Middle East.
What do you have for this week's Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, this week's in Jerusalem Dateline, we're going to have a expanded interview with Chuck Holton, who was right there in the front lines with ISIS. He talks more about what's happening in northeast Syria. We have a story about Our Crowd, the largest tech meeting in the history of Israel. Many people see that not only as more of the startup nation, this innovation, groundbreaking innovations, and marrying them with investors, but also prophetically, because it says that Israel will one day be a light to the nations, and they see that as coming forward as well. So we have an in-depth story on that, and we're going to have a story about a family that fled ISIS and how Operation Blessing was able to help them. And this is some of the things. We have more in store, so if people want to tune in, we think it's going to be a very interesting Jerusalem Dateline this week.
Yeah, sure sounds like it. A power-packed show. All right, our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell reporting from Jerusalem. Thanks, Chris. And you can see Jerusalem Dateline tonight at 9:30 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, a first look at the major new superhero film out this weekend, Captain Marvel, along with a family-friendly review.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Welcome back. A new hero is headed to the box office, Captain Marvel. It's the first solo female superhero movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it arrives in theaters today on International Women's Day. Here's your first look from our CBN News Studio 5 program.
War is a universal language. I know a renegade soldier when I see one.
We need heroes. We need you.
Space invasion, big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today.
Captain Marvel is about somebody who goes on a journey of discovery. And I think it was really important for Brie to learn how to fight.
By the time we started shooting, I had been training for 9 months, and I'm glad that I did. Doing fight sequences up and down a train for 3 days, felt kind of alive.
The thing that I found so unique about this character was that sense of humor mixed with total capability in whatever challenge comes her way.
You know how to fly this thing?
We'll see. Which I realized after going to the Air Force Base is really what Air Force pilots are like.
That's a yes or no question.
Yes. We simulated a dogfight. We were on the offense, we were on the defense. We got to 6.5 Gs.
It was amazing.
It's a lot of work. She brings so much of that to the role. It's pretty awesome.
I had no idea I would ever get to do something like this. I was over the moon when I found out who else was going to be in this film.
It's like being invited to a party and you know you're in good company.
Actors like to play in the Marvel Studios sandbox.
We made you one of us.
They understand the excitement is there, the drama is there, the humor is in there.
They've been able to find really great directors who are focused on story.
It was so fun to cast this movie.
Ben Mendelsohn, Lashana Lynch,
Jude Law,
Annette Bening, hello. Total legend.
Watching Sam Jackson is just, you know, a masterclass in itself.
Prove you're not a Skrull.
They are an incredible group of actors who are really passionate about this movie and brought it to life in a great way.
Try to keep up.
Women can do incredible things, girls can do incredible things, and we can go toe-to-toe with the boys.
I'm not what you think I am.
And as we mentioned, Captain Marvel arrives in theaters today, and here's a family-friendly review from Focus on the Family.
Your life began the day it nearly ended. We found you. With no memory, we made you one of us.
The movie Captain Marvel introduces us to a female Star Trooper with an alien race called the Kree. Now, the Kree have a name they call this trooper by, but it doesn't quite seem to fit this woman with a hot temper and fiery fists. In fact, there's a lot about this young woman's life that feels off-kilter. She has absolutely no clue of who she is beyond this space armor that she wears and the 6 short years that she can remember. However, after this battler is captured by some shape-shifting enemies, they start to probe her mind and reveal bits and pieces of another life that's stored there.
I think I had a life here.
She sees herself as a person named Carol Danvers, a human being who had loved ones and skills as a fighter pilot. And it's only when this newly dubbed Carol escapes from captivity and makes her way to Earth that she can begin to piece together who she really was and how she came to be a Kree trooper. Carol Danvers, however, is more than just Kree. She's more than just human. She's on her way to becoming a superhero. This mid-level entry in the Marvel Universe of films twists and turns as it unfolds an origin story for its female super protagonist. It's a film of self-discovery that speaks of heroism and sacrificing for others. However, as you might expect for a Marvel movie, there's a lot of pummeling and blasting in the mix, and a few language issues and some crude allusions. So I'll give Captain Marvel a 3 out of 5 for family friendliness. For an in-depth review on this film or anything else at your local box office, visit us at PluggedIn.com. Plugging you into the movies, I'm Jake Roberson for Focus on the Family's Plugged In Movie Review.
Coming up, a new name for one of CBN's most popular international programs.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
One of CBN's most popular international programs is getting a name change. Known for 20 years as Turning Point International, the award-winning show has changed its name to TPI. The show is also introducing viewers to several new segments, including The Love Seat. The segment shows real couples who reflect on solutions that have helped them to grow in their marriage. The goal of the segment is to help marriages around the world and point them to Christ. You can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. Well, that's it for today's first edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more on the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com, and also watch CBN News programs anytime on our CBN News channel. Plus, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here by emailing newswatch@cbn.com, or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.